first step before we start doing any lining paper, obviously, is removing this old wood chip. First of all, we need some overalls on. There you go, sorted. Right, now, usually when you start a room, the first thing you do is sort the furniture out and take any lampshades down, curtains, cover the window up, and usually I'll give it a hoover up as well, get rid of any dust off the carpet first off. The window as well, I usually wash the window down, especially if it's plastic, clean it all off, and then I put some plastic over the window, which I'll show you in a minute. That plastic will stay up for the duration of the job, like I say, unless you've got to paint the actual window and it's wood, then wash it down and cover it up. The plastic comes in a roll, see it there, and you can cut it to any length you want, and that's 3 metres by 15 metres. Good stuff, and it's quite tough as well. That's what you want. And I use insulation tape to stick it on, as you can see. Always wipe down the plastic first, because you find it sticks better. And that's the one I'm using at the minute. That's DL, and that's DL. There's lots of other makes, loads of insulation tape, but I find if you use masking tape, it just comes off. So I always use insulation tape. Right, the next step is to put some dust sheets down. When it comes to your dust sheets, I have different sets of dust sheets. Clean ones, dirty ones, and outside ones as well. These are waterproof. They're like a canvas. So what I tend to do, start off with my clean ones, and usually I'll have them single, but I'll put 2 sheets down. Small rooms, you can double your sheets up, and that's not too bad. So again, clean ones first, working up to your dirty ones, and the waterproof ones go on top, so when you're using your water it doesn't soak through and it collects a load of the mess up, really easy to clean up. That's the dust sheets down. I mean, you can only do your best. Rooms are all shapes sometimes. Right, let's have a look at some of the gear. First of all, steps to the height you need to get to. I'm going to go into the picture rail, so they're perfect. Some rubbish bags, important. Dust mask, very important, especially if you're dry scraping. You need a blade. Depending on what paper you're taking off, especially this type of paper, it's been painted, so the bottom edge there, you need to cut round all the woodwork to make a neat edge for when you remove the paper. I've also got my shave hook, which I'm going to use to neaten up any edges of the woodwork if there's any lumps of filler or cork or anything like that. Scrapers, I've got all sorts, even down to, that's a filling knife, but depending on what paper I'm taking off, sometimes it comes in use. I've also got my blades, these are really good. So what I tend to do is start off with a particular scraper and see how it goes, and then I'll move on through my scrapers to see which one might be the best one for the type of wallpaper you're taking off. There is some other scrapers that you can get that have got long handles, and angled blades. They're quite good actually. Right, your water. You can use a steam stripper if you want, but I find they can cause trouble a lot of the time, so I just tend to use warm soapy water. Bit of spot of fairy liquid in there. Never fill your bucket more than a quarter full. If you ever kick it over, you've got water everywhere. So that's a really good tip, that one. My flat brush. That's about it. Ready to start, and like I say, the first thing with this paper, because it's been painted, usually if the woodwork is very neat, you trim round the wallpaper, so when you strip it, it's perfect and you've not damaged any of the woodwork. But because this woodwork is that rough on the edges, I've decided not to cut round it. I'm just going to strip it and then deal with the edge as I'm going. The only place I am going to cut down is where I put the new lining paper on. So usually you would go around the whole lot. There you go. I'll just show you a wee bit of this stripping, because again on the other videos you see more of it. So starting off with that scraper I was on about. See how easy it comes off first of all. buried in. So there you go, that's dry scraping. Sometimes comes off easier than you think. A little bit of effort, but you know. Next stage is a bit of water on there. A bit of warm soapy water all over, you know, start from the top and soak it all in. Leave it 5 minutes while you scrape another wall. Come back to it, wet it again. Scrape it a bit more, and then when you come back to it, it'll just fall off. We'll have a look at that in a minute. Don't worry too much about these corners. You see where the plaster's not too good. I mean, you're going to have to fix it. Most of it's solid till you get to them little bits on the ends. See there. So it's going to pull some of the filler out. There's no two ways about it. But I'll show you how to fix all that. As you're scraping the wallpaper off, you can also clean out the loose plaster on some of these edges. Some of it's not too bad. There's some old tape on there. It's probably keeping the joints. But it's all dried out, give up. Just clean that out. It's not too bad. Not too bad at all. This has already been soaking now for 10 minutes. I've stripped the whole wall and I've wet it all in. I'm going to give this another wet before I strip it. I'm just showing you this bit for a demonstration. Just scrub that water in because it just helps hold it on the wall with the bubbles of the soap. I like using that blade for cleaning off, because when you're left with just the backing and it's wet, it comes off really easy. But you're also after cleaning off the plaster at the same time at the back. The more you clean off with your scraper like this, the less you have to do when you're washing all the paste off at the end, because you have to give it a wash over. You're better taking your time doing this bit so you can find any lumps, and you can also clean off the skirting board and the edges of the woodwork as you're going. I'm getting rid of the paint line down there where the emulsion's crept through. always keep your blade nice and clean on the edge. It works better. I mean, sometimes I end up just wiping it on the overalls. It's just one of those habit things. It's all about speed. I've tried every other way really. I mean, you could carry a cloth in your hand, but the reason I don't like wiping it with my hand at all is because that's razor sharp. And a quick wipe on the overalls and it's nice and clean. There you go. Now, once you've cleaned it off like that, clean bucket of water, warm soapy water, and just wet your wall in again and give it a scrub. And because I've already removed most of the paste and the waste, then all you really need to do is just wipe it over with a cloth. It's not too bad. There you go. So I'll show you some of the edges now, and then that's it for this video. The next video is all about the filling. You can see there where the paint's come off the picture rail when I pulled the paper off. When you cut with a knife, that doesn't happen. But I wasn't too bothered because it's all that rough. Everything needs a good sand, and the edges all need a good scrape over to get them flat again. I've already been cleaning off these edges down here, as you can see. Now, there's been a bit of a repair along this bit, and all that's been replastered. So it's actually not too bad, that area. But some of it, where there's bits of paste, extra plaster on that you don't want, you can scrape all that back. And then if there is any loose bits, again, take them out. I mean, even that new bit there, it's not solid. So, right. Some jobs are worse than others. I'll just show you cleaning off that bottom edge there, and technically that's what you need to do with all the edges onto the wall. So on this bottom edge, it's been battered over time. There's loads of filling been done, and there's chunks been took out of the wood. So what you're better off doing is taking it back to the bare wood, and sometimes that's what I use my wood scraper for. You can get onto that top edge and give it a scrape. Now, if you find the wood is furring up, go the other way, because wood has a grain obviously, so if you're pulling one way and it's furring it up, then change direction. Be careful when you get to the corners, because you don't want to be pulling chunks of the wood out. You can even give a little scrape of the wall as well at the bottom. That's not too bad at all. There's a bit of wood missing there and stuff. But yeah, generally that's it. You can neaten that front bit up as well. So that's why I wasn't too bothered about cutting round with a knife on this, because the woodwork's so rough. Right then, so that's it for this video. Once you've done all your stripping and all your cleaning off of the edges, you want to clean the mess up. Now, because I've only been doing one wall, I've just left it as it is. But sometimes if I'm doing more than one wall, I'll be working on a section and I'll keep dropping back, wetting it, and then as soon as I finish that section I'll clean up the floor and carry on around the room like that in a process. So once you've cleaned the rubbish up, wipe over all the woodwork with a damp cloth to get rid of all the muck so it's nice and clean.